Hello and welcome to the next episode of How to Make a Doom Mod. Today I'll be showing you how to make a basic ghoul, or basic monster. The reason why I've decided to make a basic ghoul, or Ghoul's Forest style ghoul, is because they are the easiest monsters to make. It's not really made for a spook factor, it's just for the simplicity's sake, to show you the basic mechanics of how monsters work, give an insight on how to do AI. It's not much different to making actual monsters. The only difference is that these style ghouls don't have any rotations. That's the only thing that sets them apart. It's not really an advanced thing, adding rotations to monsters. It can be a little bit time consuming, making sure each sprite is correct. There's other software out there which do it for you, but for the purpose of this video I'm using Slump because this is what I'm used to at the minute. You can use whatever software you use. They all perform, from what I've seen, exceptionally similar, some better than others, but this is, like I said, this is what I'm used to. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Firstly, I have a folder here just for weapons. I'm just going to do this decorate file, just for weapons, and I'm going to make another one just for monsters. It doesn't matter how many decorators you have, you can put them all in one decorate file, or have them in different ones. It doesn't really matter. This is how I do things. So I think if there's a problem with a monster, I go to the monster one. If there's a problem with a weapon, I go to the weapon one, and so forth. And just whenever there's a monster one, I'll type monsters. Right, I'm going to look for a scary Halloween mask because a lot of ghouls that I've seen are Halloween masks repurposed into 2D sprites. So I'm just going to type in scary Halloween mask. And I'm going to pick one that I think looks pretty good. I quite like this one. This one looks quite scary. Okay, we'll go with this one. Okay, so save image as. Call this Ghoul and put this in my How to Make a Doom Mod folder. Okay, so like we discussed in the previous episode, editing sprites in GIMP. This is basically poor man's Photoshop because this is free, and this series is supposed to be as very accessible as possible. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm not sure I do this with the weapons, but I'll do this with this, and just show you again. Put this to a new layer. Drag the top layer down, so it's got an alpha shadow behind it, which means it's transparent. And I'm going to get rid of this white background. There are different ways of doing this. You go over whatever you're most comfortable with. I can use the lasso tool, just click around him like that, bit by bit. Or if you want to be more precise, and if you've got a steady hand, you can use the eraser tool, whatever that is. So basically, zoom in, draw. Well, sometimes you might have to merge it down to a new layer, and like that, so you have a transparent background. The reason why it went yellow is because the secondary colour here is yellow, and it's something to do with the layer information. When I used the eraser tool, it assumed it had a yellow background. But all you got to do, like I say, merge down, right click, to new layer, OK. Make sure when you do to new layer, it is transparency. And so yeah, you have a transparent background to use. There's other things as well. You can use the magic wand tool, lower the threshold, get so it's just right. Sometimes you might have to make sure the ghoul's layer is the active layer. So you use that. It's okay. You have to play around with the threshold now and again. Make sure you get it right. I'll probably go with that because for simplicity. I'll just show you the lasso tool for this one. It's going to look a bit naff, a bit rubbish, but this is just for quickness. You get the idea. So yeah, the idea of the series is that it's accessible, and hopefully anyone can repeat. So once you've clicked around using the lasso tool, click the rectangle and press delete, and there you go, it's got rid of that. If you're me, you can use the blur tool and very faintly go around the edges to sort of like smoothen it out, gets rid of the white edges if you use the magic wand tool. Like I say, do not have to do this at all. It depends on your artistic take. I'm just doing this quickly, so don't waste any time. Like so. So it's sort of cleaned it up, just giving it a bit of a blurred, unusual look. After all, this is a ghoul. So it's been dead for several hundred years, come back as a vengeful spirit, and now actively hunting down the Doom guy. So yes, once you've sorted your sprite out, go to File, Export As, and give it a name, probably something like Phantasmo. So, like the weapon sprites, you can call it anything you want, and make sure it is a PNG. So, because it's called Phantasmo, I'll give it a sprite name of PHAN. This is the A sprite with 0 rotation.png. So, like I covered in the previous episode, and I'll cover it again here, sprite names are only 4 characters long. We can put numbers in it, give it letters and numbers. It doesn't matter what you call it, just so long as it doesn't have the same name as another sprite. Won't cause any issues. If it's what you want to do, then it's up to you, but I wouldn't advise it. If you give it the same sprite name as, say, as a monster in Doom, it will replace it. If you want to replace monster sprites, give them the same ones as the same names of the sprites that the monsters have. If that's not, sorry, that's a bit confusing. That. So if you do want to replace the monster sprites, for example, the zombie man, you'd replace the frame name and the frame letter. So if you want to replace his walking animation, you put, I believe it's POSS, that's the name of the sprite, and frames A to D, and if you've got rotations, put the rotations in there. If this had 5 rotations, I'll put A1 like that, and next one will be A2, A8, A3, A7, A4, A6, A5. So that's 5-point rotation. If I had 8 rotations, it would be A1, A2, A3, A4, A4, all the way to 8. Well, to keep things simple, so you have no rotations, so it'll be 0. Just covering that now, and I will cover it again in the Advanced Monsters episode, as rotations, different behaviour, and so forth. So, this is going to be called Fan, or PHAN, frame A, no rotations, or PNG. Now I want to give this some animations. I want to make his mouth move, both for when he's attacking the player and when he's dying. So I'm going to use the lasso tool. I'm going to cut around the jawline. Go over like that. Make sure his top jaw is not affected. Go over his teeth. Top row. So the idea is just like so, like that, and just put the cut around like that, and bang. To do that, I press Ctrl X to cut it and then paste it in a different layer. Right click on that layer, to new layer, and now you can move about as of when you wish. I'm going to use the move tool. Make sure that's highlighted. Use the arrow key to move it down a little bit. I'm going to go back to the bottom layer, and I'm going to use the pencil because it's got a hard edge. Because it's already black, I can fill this with a bit of empty void, like most ghouls do in Ghoul's Forest. Gives the illusion that he's actually opening his mouth. It doesn't look all that well, but if you spend some time, you can make a really nice looking ghoul. So this is just a tutorial. This is what you've got. Okay, so since this is a new sprite, export as, keeping that the same, just change it to frame B. Export, export. So just rinse and repeat. Okay, I'm done with the sprites now, so I'm going to discard changes, make sure it doesn't do anything I don't want it to do. So there it is, my spooky monster. Ah, it's not too bad. I'm going to go to soundbible.com. You can get this off YouTube, you get these sound packs off the internet, you can use them. I'm only doing this because it's free, and not trying to promote anything like YouTube to MP3. Don't tell when I said that. Obviously, I always reference where I get them from. I always make sure that people are credited, where credit is due. Perhaps type in monster. That's good. So what? Halloween vocals.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, I suppose I could use that for when the monster gets you. Okay. Right, download MP3. If it doesn't work, sometimes it's worth right-clicking, go on save link as. I'll do that way. Sometimes it doesn't work. When just click on it normally. Don't know why. So I type this Ghoul attack, just so I know what this is. This suggests like a lot of keywords. You click on the keyword, it'll take you to like another page. Shows you like other similar names, like similar sounds. Sorry. So I think I could use that for when the ghoul dies, maybe. So save link as ghoul die. Right then. So once I've got all the sounds I need, leave the site, and I'm going to use Audacity to shorten them, edit them, turn into whatever file format I want. For this I'll use OGGs. They seem to be smaller, compact, and they work with Doom. So what I'm going to do with this is double click to highlight it all, click Effect, Amplify, and click OK. It sort of makes it so it's like, makes it as loud as possible without making it peak. So you've always any clipping or whatever it's called. It stops it from like crackling when played through certain speakers. Probably shorten that by I'll just half it. So basically just drag it, use my mouse, click and drag along, Control X, click on the X, Control V, and there it is. This is how I do it. Effect, fade out, so it goes. You don't have to do this. This is what I do. So I'm going to click File, Export, Export it as OGG, go to my Doom folder, resources, and since this is going to be turned into a lump, like I mentioned in the previous episode, it can only be 8 characters long. So I'm going to type, just so I know what this is, perhaps GHOULS. So that's Ghoul C. So active sounds are basically once a monster's been activated or is spotted the player, it will play a sound every so often to let you know that the monster is active. You may notice, for example, with okay, excuse me reenactment here, but for the zombie sounds, like the sort of sound, that means you know there's one looking for the player, and for this monster it will play. I mean, do you know it's coming after you? What I'll do is I'll get rid of the little pause at the beginning, so it's just like that. Export as OGG, Ghoul A. Just so I know that it's the active sound for the monster. Because I want it to be a bit more sudden, like the active sound, just cut it there. Get the amplified treatment. If you want, perhaps drag a little bit beginning, fade in, so there's. Oops. Just neatens it up a little bit, because no sound's instant. It always is a little, even like the quickest of sounds always have like a little bit of a build up. It's not really noticeable, but it's there. So Ghoul P. This is the attack sound. Go to that bit of pause. Amplify. Now, because this sound does peak, instead of making it louder, it will sort of quieten it so it doesn't peak. So it's not much of a difference, but it won't burst anyone's eardrums when using headphones. Cool. I'm not going to use A, I'm going to use AT for attack. Make sure it's 8 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So now that's the attack sound. And finally, the death sound. It's quite high pitch for this monster, so I'm going to slow it down. What about minus 50? Yeah, that's good. Because this is like a spectral kind of monster, what I'm going to do is click and drag at the end there, probably about 10 seconds. It won't be that long, it's just give it a bit of leeway. Generate silence, okay. Click on there to connect it, and then double click, effect, reverb. I'm going to use a factory preset. I'm going to use Church Hall. Amplify it again so it's loud enough, so it's then now sound like this. Lovely. Now it sounds a bit more spectral, like it's fading away into the whatever realm it came from, sending it back to hell, and that's its sound of distress as it is fading away. So I'm getting a bit into this. But yeah, this is only what I only do for my mods. Ghoul D for die or death, and the sounds are done. Let's plug all this into the Doom mod and then do the coding for it. Very easy, nice and easy. So I'm click on S_start, click on lump, new from file. This will just put anything below that. Click on that one, control click, so anything from there to there will be selected. Open. I'm going to click on the first sprite and press on the green up arrow to put to the top. Don't have to do that, it will still read it the same, it's just me really. Like I did with the projectiles in the previous episode, I'm going to sort of centre this. Probably drag it about. I'll drag it up a bit as well, give it a bit of like height so it looks like it's levitating. I'll do. Save changes, and I'm just going to remember these numbers. So 340, 340, 798. This will obviously take a lot longer if you've got rotation sprites, but if you don't mind doing it, like if you're like me, you don't mind doing it, I don't mind doing that. I've done it for tons and tons of sprites. Then it's just like second nature. I put a bit of music on, just go ahead, just go on autopilot. Before you know it, the sprites are done. I'm quite passionate when it comes to doing mods, so this sort of stuff is, like I say, just like second nature. Right then, the sprites are done. They're in. I'll put the sounds in now. before. I'm just going to neaten this up as well. So similar thing with the weapons, except these are monster sounds. There's no real difference when it comes to coding. What was it? Phantasmo. I'm just going to click Cold Shift up right to select it. Control X or Control C. I press X for some reason. Control V to bring it back. So instead from typing it out, I just basically paste it. Dash C, and the name of the lump is called Ghoul S. So I'm going to type Ghoul S. Phantasmo active. Ghoul A. Attack. Ghoul AT. Pain. Ghoul P. And death. Ghoul D. Excellent. Right. You can use multiple sounds. For example, with the random swing sounds for the dagger, the same thing works with monsters as well. You have random pain sounds, random death sounds, random C sounds. Any sounds at all really can be randomized. But just to keep this simple, I'm just going to use single sounds for each sound slot. Well, I'm not sure what they're called. I call them sound slots. For example, the C sound, the active sound, death sound, etc. Righty. I'm just going to save it. Always save your work, by the way. Always save your work. This can crash at any time. So like with the weapon, I'm going to talk you step for step what things mean, what they do. And, okay, firstly, we'll start off with the actor. So we'll do the actor, Phantasmo. You don't have to give it the exact name, but for reference, I'm just going to call it that. Now, with a weapon, you would do :weapon. But since this isn't a weapon, you don't do that. You don't put monster. You don't do that. I'm just going to have a quick cross-reference, see if I give it a Doom WAD number, and I did. So what a Doom WAD number does, it gives it its gives it a unique number. Or you give it a number. What that number does, when you put something down with that number, it when a level starts, it goes through all the library of numbers. So say if this has a number of 25002, whatever's 25002, it'll put down a Phantasmo. If you give it the same number as a monster in Doom or whatever, instead of putting down a zombie, it will replace it with that. Obviously, you don't want to do that. You can if you want to. If you want to skill living daylights out your friends, you can absolutely do that. Play just a normal Doom map, nothing to see really. Door opens, and what was supposed to be the cyber demon is this scary looking ghoul instead. So yeah, I want actor, Phantasmo number, open squiggly bracket. We'll start with the health, so give it a health of maybe 650. That's quite an average health for a ghoul. So health is how many hit points it has. So it will take 650 damage before succumbing to death. So let's give it a radius of 60. This is how imagine everything is in a box, invisible box, and the radius is the width and depth. It's if you put 60, it'll be 60 by 60. Height. Don't screw that poor spelling. Height is basically how tall it is. So give it a height of. I'll give it a height of 60. So it'll be a even box 60 by 60 by 60. You can give whatever you want. I'd try and keep it so, the sprite fits the box size, or vice versa. The box size fits the sprite. Because this sprite's quite big, I'm going to use the scale trick like I did with the machine gun or the rapid gun to shrink the sprite down. A little note for doing that: the bigger the sprite and the more you shrink it, the more detailed the picture quality will be. So if you get a series of massive sprites and shrink them right down, they'll be very high detail. Trouble with that is, for some reason, it can cause a bit of frame rate issues. For some reason, when it processes the sprite for the first time in a playthrough, it'll have a bit of frame rate issues. But once it's processed each sprite as they appear, it won't do it again. Okay, I'm going to give it a speed. I'll give it a speed of 8. Doesn't seem very fast, but it will be fast once I do the animations. I'll give it a pain chance. So this is the chance of it entering its pain state. If it's 255, no matter how much damage it takes or how many times you shoot it, it'll always enter the pain state. If it's something like 128, roughly, or 127, roughly a half, it'll be like a 50-50 chance, near enough, or like 49 chance that it will enter the state. It's 50-50 really. Like I said, the lower the number, the less chance it has. Now, instead of putting, like I said before, :monster here, because this is a monster, you'll put it here. Now I'm going to give it a flag. Floor clip. Now flags are like yes and no's, or trues or false, trues and falses. So plus means true, negative means false, and this here tells it that it stays on the floor. It's like ground based. Putting a negative will, means that gravity won't affect it, but because I want this to fly, I'll get rid of that and type in no gravity, so gravity won't affect it, and put float. What that'll do is it'll tell it has the ability of going up and down like a cacodemon. So if I'm on a ledge and the monster's down here, it has the ability of rising up to pursue me from higher ground. Okay, let's put in the sound effects. So C sound. I remember it was Ghoul. No, it wasn't Ghoul. Sorry, that was the name of the lump. Just going to quickly refer back to this. What you can do is, just for reference, instead of going backwards and forth, just copy them sounds, paste them there, and just basically copy and paste them like that. Or if you get rid of these, obviously not in the sound info lump, in the decorate lump, just for little quickness tips, just type it like that, sound like that. This is for quickness. Actually, we'll get rid of the attack sound and put that in afterwards. Pain sound. Just a little tip for quickness. So yeah, you have the C sound, active sound, pain sound, death sound. Okay, like the weapons, we'll give the monster an obituary, which is basically a message that appears on the top left of the screen with a message most commonly referring to what the monster was, who the victim was, and how the monster killed the victim. You can put whatever message you want. Say, for example, if you want to prank a friend, you can have a message saying, "Ha ha, gotcha." But for this, I'll just keep it traditional Doom style, so put obituary. I can't spell today, I do apologise. URE. %O for victim was harvested by the Phantasmo. Because this is not PvP, you wouldn't put %K for killer. Phantasmo. Phantasmo. Now, if this is a monster with a projectile attack, you would put, like, for example, obituary like that, and if it has a melee attack as well, you'd put hit obituary. Well, if it just has one single attack, just put obituary. So, for instance, I can put for its projectile, percent O was harvested by the Phantasmo, and for the hit obituary, it would say something like percent O was eaten by the Phantasmo. If you want this monster to reward the player for killing the monster, you can type drop item and whatever item you want in there. I'll put BFG 9000, for instance, or sell. So drop a bit of BFG or plasma rifle ammo. I'm not going to do that, but you can if you so wish. You can even put monsters in there. So once you kill that, it drops a monster, so you have to fight that as well. That is entirely possible. But to do that, there's other ways of doing it. You can make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. But we'll come to that later. So because we're done with all that technical information, I'm going to put states beneath, open square bracket, and then we're going through the animations. So there's different things we can do with this. If I type in spawn, and then put Ghoul A1 A underscore look. So what that means is, what that's going to do, when it spawns and it's not active, it'll play that animation. It'll just stand there and wait until it either hears a gunshot or sees the player. But if you want the monster to hunt you down right off the get-go, without, like, obviously it won't see you straight away, but it'll just move around looking for the player, you can put Ghoul A0 A wonder. If you just put wonder like that without the look, it won't see you, it won't hear you or anything like that. It'll just move around aimlessly like a headless chicken. But because it's got look, it will try and detect visually if the player is in its line of sight. So this simulates the monster moving around the map, hunting the player down. So once the monster spotted you, we'll put C colon Ghoul A1 A underscore chase loop. So the monster spotted you and is going to actively hunt you down. I'm going to tidy this up as well. What I'm going to do is go back to these and press tab, push them out like that. You don't have to do that, it just makes it more pleasing to the eye. Oh, a little tip for you as well, if you want to add notes, you press double dash and whatever you type after that, won't consider it as code, it will just ignore it. Just a little tip for you. Okay, so since it has a melee attack, type melee like that. Ghoul BCD, or just BC for now, and then Ghoul D1A melee attack. There are different ways you can do this, but for now I'm just going to do it this way. So what that will do is it will detect if you are in its range, and if so, do X amount of damage. So I'm going to go back to this, put enter beneath that, put melee range. This is how far it will reach for the player. So put 128, give it decent range. Melee damage, give it 20. Quite powerful. Quite a nasty punch. Well, not much of a punch, more of a bite really. Now you can do this, you can go Ghoul A or C, whatever, don't matter what sprite is, 0 A underscore play sound Ghoul at, like that. So it'll play that sound effect, or you can do melee sound. What that means is if the hit connects, it will play that sound. But if you put attack sound, what should happen is that it'll play a sound if it misses. If I got like a bite sound, like a sound, I could put in the melee slot, so it gives the impression that it's just bit the player. But I'll just do it like this. If you want the sound to overwrite any previous sounds made by the monster, you can put play sound X, like EX, after the sound, comma, voice. So it'll put it in the voice channel. There are different channels like weapon, voice, some other ones. I'm not can't quite remember. That's only for like but it depends what you want to do really. If you want to have like two sounds playing at once, you can use one can be play sound X and one just play sound, so you'll play them both at the same time. Getting quite into detail here, but it's just if that's what you want to do, you can do that. And I'm just going to sort of give it a bit of a pause. So Ghoul D10. So it's not just like keeps going for you. Once it's attacked, it's like a second or two pause before then going back to after the player. Ghoul C B A 1 go to C. So when you're in range, it will try and bite you, and then the animation is just its mouth closing back, and when it says go to C, it means go back to that and carry on looking for the player. Okay, so I just figured out what the issue was with this. It's not a case of the code. The code is fine. It's just I didn't use the correct name. I should have used that. Phantasmo-attack. Again, I apologise for that error. I'll give it a pain state. So pain, colon, Ghoul. Just give it a sprite. A1, A underscore pain, Ghoul, A3. So basically, when it takes a bit of damage, it's like a split second pause. Perhaps if you give the player a bit of a chance to run away from the Ghoul, you can do that. Or some ghouls in Ghoul's Forest may notice that they teleport away when they've been attacked. So for that, what I'll do is, if I give it that ability, I'll keep the pain sound just in case. Put a instead of 3, 0, and give it more than one A. So about 3, 4, 5. So A frames. 5, 10, don't forget that, 20, A underscore wander. So what that'll do is it'll take 20 steps within like a fraction of a second. So it gives the impression when you shoot it, it goes boom, it goes somewhere completely different. I would advise not putting the pain sound there. Don't excuse that random accent just then, but putting it after that. So pain, and perhaps another couple of frame pause, go to C. So there's a 127 chance that it will show pain and teleport somewhere random. If you put chase, there's a chance it will instantly teleport to the player and attack you right away. That was a mistake I made in another mod. But if you put wander, it's random. You don't know where it's going to be. That's a good defensive strategy when it comes to ghouls, really. Yeah, the ability to teleport away from the player or somewhere around the player to throw you off guard. Now for the death animation. Death, colon. What I'll do is I put Ghoul, A1, Ghoul, B, C, D, 1, Ghoul, D, 20. I'll put A0, A scream. Now, the reason I don't put it on that line, for some reason, it doesn't always play. When you put sounds on the very first frame of the death animation, sometimes it don't quite play. So I have to have like one frame before the rest of the animation. I don't know if it was just an engine thing or something with skull tag. When I used to do Doom WAD on skull tag, I'm using Sandronum. I don't know if it's the same case, but just in case, just to be safe, I always do that. Scream just means that it'll play the death sound. So what's going to happen here, it's going to stop, go ah for like 20 frames, and then it's going to start spewing flames everywhere, Ghoul's Voice 3 style. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So what I'm going to do is type in Ghoul D. Okay, how do I want to do this? I'll show you how to do 2 ways to do it. I'll show you 2 ways of doing this. You can do it so it's like, I say it's 3 ways actually. Do it so it goes like a circle, like a circle. Do it where it shoots in random directions, or one where it just like pulses like just like that. First I'll show you the 361, which was do like a circle around the Ghoul. D1 custom missile, not fire custom missile. Because this is a monster, you'd use custom missile. I've yet to define this, so I'm just going to call it Arch Vile Fire 2. Spawn height, give it a spawn height of maybe 1, so it's not touching the ground straight away. Horizontal X and Y, 0, angle 0, A mode 0. So it's not going to fire directly at the player. So once you've done one, I'm just going to copy and paste that. And for this next line, give it an angle of 30. Now you'll do this until you reach 180. So I'm just going to copy and paste that a few times like that. So 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. Now you'll do it like this, so you go from 0 to 180, copy and paste that, and so put minus. So imagine a circle, go towards the camera, so it'll go like from 30 to 180, and then go minus 30 to minus 180, like that. So it creates a perfect circle. What you can then do is, if you want to do like a circle like that, you can do it so it repeats a few times, like so. Just copy and paste that a few times, and go like that. That's how you do the 361. For the one where it pulses, so it's like that, you replace this with click on the keyboard, insert 0, and my friend Jake likes me watching me do this. What I'm going to do is press down, left, 0, and this is how I do it. Like that. And then I'm going to copy and paste that. Put that to 50, so it goes pulse, pulse, pulse with flames. So I'm going to then show you the random version. Just bring all the ones back by holding Control and pressing Z. Actually, no, I'll get rid of these. Remember that this is the angle, so you put random bracket 0 to 359, not 360, because 0 and 360 are the same really. So yeah, it will choose a random angle to choose from. This is probably what I'll stick with, or I could revert it back to another one. Just copy and paste that a few times like that. Or if you want to keep it tidy, just add more frames like that. Both work the same. Looks neater that way. But for this, I'm going to use the one where it pulses outwards every so often, because I like that. Make a note: don't use minus 180. Or minus 0. Revert it back to the pulsating one, so it will stop, scream, ah, and then start going with flames, and then I want it to fade out. So I'm going to do Ghoul D, put D 5 times, 3, 4, 5, 1 frame, A underscore fade out, put 0.2. So every frame it reduces the transparency by 0.2. So 5.0.2 is equal to 1. However, because it is a transparent opacity of 1, remove 0.2 5 times, you end up with 0, so it makes it invisible. Sorry, not invincible. Now you may notice I made quite a big mistake. Don't worry, it's been a while since I've done things from scratch, because I often reuse resources that I've already done. The premise still stands. I've used the wrong name and the wrong using 5 characters for the sprite names. All I've got to do is replace Ghoul with the right sprite name, but everything else will work. Everything else is the same. So do forgive me for that mistake, but everything's the same. So all I've done now is just corrected the sprite names. Again, do apologise for that mistake. I'm not the best doomer, best teacher out there, but it will work either way. It will still work. Well, the code, that is. So, just a quick rundown. There's a health of 650, radius and height of 60, 8 speed, That all looks good to me. It wanders around, looks for the player. Once it sees you, it just chases the player. When it attacks, it plays that sound as a melee attack. When it takes damage, it will teleport randomly. When it dies, it screams and bursts into flames. That will work, but we just need to define what Active Fire 2 is. We'll go to the Doom Wiki, go to Actor Classes, Doom Classes. Don't copy the code because they don't seem to like that. Explosives, Active Fire, and we're just going to reference this. So it'll have all the same information with a few additions. So where I'm going to reference this is go here, beneath, let's create another actor. Arch-Vile Fire 2, and the reference being Arch-Vile Fire. Don't give it a Doom WAD number unless you want to put it in the map, but as soon as it appears, it will just play its animation and just vanish forever. Give it a speed of maybe 3, I'll give it a speed of 5, close bracket, and there you go. We're just referencing that we're keeping everything else the same, we're just giving it a speed of 5 so it gets a bit of travel. That's it. That's all we're done. Okay, let's go on a nice open map and test out this new monster of ours. Give us a bit of a running head start. Make sure this thing don't kill me straight away. Summon Phantasmo. Now, I did forget to put the scale, but you get the idea. It's moving around. It's hunting me down like that. Sound's not working, I assume. Not sure why the sound's not working. That's probably just a little error of mine. Just gonna resurrect. So when I shoot it, don't move very far. Just give it a few more frames, but it works in a way. So, we'll take back to the drawing table and let's fix some errors. Straight off the bat, the sprite's far too big. So, put scale, 0. So yeah, break it down to about the 20th of the size. Maybe that might be still too big, but we'll soon see. I'm going to add more A-frames to that. In fact, double it again. So it has a lot more travel. Whoops. Should put a space there. And that's probably the reason why the sounds didn't work. I'll slow down the flames travel speed to something like 2. Because this has no rotations, it might look a bit strange, you walking in front of it and not seeing you. So to fix that, put there, add another flag, put plus look all around. So no matter whereabouts you are within its field of view, it will see you. I'll give the monster a bit more speed as well, because it's a bit on the slow side, bless him. So as you can see, it's a lot more smaller and a lot faster, and it floats. It's quite scary actually when it's chasing after me. Oh! It's not playing a sound for some reason. I will fix that. That sound's fixed. So resurrect. So yeah, it was just a case of putting it to Phantasmo-Attack because that's the name, the reference name. So all in all, this is a monster. This is a working ghoul now. So we don't have a forest map to demonstrate this. So this is the final thing. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of How to Make a Doom Mod. Do excuse the errors that were on there, but mistakes will happen, and they will happen in the series, and when they do, I'll show you how to resolve them. So be sure to tune in next episode where I show you how to make a basic map using the Doom configuration. Now, to give a bit of a better insight on what configurations are, I'd advise you watch Chubsy Doomer's video on map configurations. I'll leave a link in the description below on that video. Thank you very much for watching the episode again. Hope you learned something, and I will see you next episode. Happy dooming. You have been watching the Mr. Skulltag channel. Be sure to check out the links in the description for more short films, entertaining videos, gaming videos, or check out our blog for future updates.